Hello, folks. It's Chocolate Yoddah, spelled Yoddah, because film studios are litigious. And it's Chocolate Yoddah Live on TikTok. Today is Saturday, November 2nd. And we are down to the wire. We are getting close to the election that seems to have been going on for 4 years. TB12, I see you out there. Hello. Thanks for liking the live. This dump disintegration has turned into a disaster, huh? I mean, he seems to, it's almost as if he wants to lose because he's saying like just all the wrong things. He's pretending not to know the comic who was at his rally, even though everybody that spoke at his rally was vetted. Almost everybody had their speech on the teleprompter, which means that it had to be vetted ahead of time. Everybody knew what was going on, but Donnie, just like he did with COVID, I don't know. I bear no responsibility, right? Oop, I'm supposed to say C19, sorry. Even though he did, just like he did with C19, oh, I don't know what happened. Wasn't me. I had nothing to do with that. Everything was great. We did everything perfectly. Nobody handles pandemics like me. Oh man, but yeah, he's telling women that he's going to protect them whether they want him to or not. Oh, let's see. Separate Walk already has a bizarre statement. If you remove the ego from your shoulders, you will sound more intelligent, sir. Oh, that's nice to add "sir" at the end of an insult. What are you talking about? Separate Walk. What exactly are you talking about? Keith says he's nuts with a Z at the end. Yeah, I think he is. Do you honestly think Kamala Harris will win the election Tuesday? That's Gregory Jones, and he added 3 question marks as if the other 2 were needed. Yes. Embroidery Gal says Harris, Ohio. Yeah, that looks right. Looks like Pennsylvania's probably going to go to Harris as well. And I do know one thing for sure. If Harris takes Pennsylvania as Biden did last time, that makes it way more difficult for Dump. If Harris takes Florida, then I believe it's impossible electorally for Dump to win. TikTok Tina says, I love your style. I hope you're right about Kamala. Thank you, TikTok Tina. I appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, it's thank you for the rose. And Rodney Culver writes King Dump, although he spelled his name correctly. Sure, yeah, because that's what America's about, right? Kings and dictators and stuff, right? Hey, folks, just as a reminder, please tap the screen when you come on. Tap, 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 tap. I like to tap like for 10 seconds continuously to see how many likes I can give. Let's see. Kim Weinbach says, Harris all the way from South Carolina. Embarrassed of my state. Let's see. The media has turned against her. I'm a Democrat and I'm worried. Here's the thing. The media has a very artificial role in it. I mean, maybe not. Maybe artificial is the wrong word. The media has a role that I think is incomplete in that the mainstream media has abdicated journalism. Like they don't try to be journalists anymore, right? Wow. Someone's cranking music. Wow. So one of my neighbors is cranking music. It's probably coming through on the mic. Sorry about that. Yeah, the media is nonsense. I don't consult mainstream media about anything. I think it's completely useless. Um, Edward R. Murrow warned us about this in 1958 in a famous speech he gave, where he was basically saying once this advertising money comes into journalism, it's going to corrupt journalism. And of course, he was right. Everything he said happened. So the media is all about narrative now, and it's about propaganda. It's not necessarily about anything real. Let's see. Hot Flash Anna is asking, do you think donating to her campaign now will make any difference? She keeps texting me. Yeah, I get texts from her also. I mean, probably not. I think the day that they announced that she was running, I donated, and that was it. I don't know if it. I mean, it might help with ad spending already, but they've raised so much money. I don't think they need more. I think they just say that. Randy Martin, Kamala all the way. Let's hope so. Let's see what we got here. Kim Weinbach is getting 6 texts a day. Yeah, I'm getting like 1 or 2. I'm getting 1 or 2 from Kamala, and then some other Democrats who I have no idea who they are. But I'll vote, Democrat down ticket, because that's what we need to correct what try to prevent what the Republicans are trying to do. Basically, if Biden and Harris have the House and Senate, then yeah. Fan Rose 627 said, proudly voted for the criminal today, just the American way. Sure. That's why we're America. Just go vote. Sure. Yeah. It's the American way to vote for convicted felons. Of course. Please keep convincing yourself of that. And lobbyists corrupt government. Well, yeah, that's government allowing corruption, because the government made the decision to allow lobbyists, right? So lobbyists didn't corrupt the government. The government made corruption legal. Drywall dude, hi. You were here the other night. Good to see you again. It's wild. Yeah, TB12's to Fen Rose 627. Don't forget Grapist. He's also a Grapist. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. But TB12, they're all in denial about his criminality. I had someone on my life tell me he wasn't a convicted felon, which is amazing to me, because it's like, really, you just don't know reality. You don't understand what happens in real life. Anyway, I forgot to invite people up, so I'm remembering now. I don't take co-hosts right now, but if you want to come up as a guest and disagree with me or agree with me, whatever you want to do, right next to the comment section, there's a little icon that looks like a red and blue person side by side, and it either says guests or multi-guests. You can click on that and join me. Faith Girl 7 says I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Dump 2024. She spelled it differently, but that's how I say it. Dump 2024 for prison. I'll just tag all these, because I know that you MAGA hats sometimes have a hard time expressing yourself, so you write 1 or 2 words, 1 word and a year. Dump 2024. That's a sad way to express yourself as an adult, but I don't really expect. Tony Fenter says, "Hey, rerun, what's happening?" That's funny. That's funny. That's a first on TikTok. That's a good callback to a very old TV series. I think from the 70s, right? What's happening? Boom Girl 56 says, Boomer Girl 56 says, President Kamala Harris. That's what I think everyone's going to be saying. I think that's what they're going to be saying. 2016 will be repeated. Nah, I doubt it. I think 2020 is going to be repeated. Because Sterling, I want you to realize if your support was so significant, why did he lose in 2020? Because you were all talking this nonsense back in 2020 also, right? With the same confidence, the same fervor, the same enthusiasm. Oh, Trump's going to win. You'll see. You Democrats are going to be crying, blah, 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 blah. And he lost spectacularly. I mean, losing the popular vote again, and then a landslide in the electoral. Oof, that was brutal. Hello, Ophelia. Tonya says, is it Toynaya? Sorry if I'm not saying that correctly. Vote for democracy and freedom. Man, these elaborate things that you folks type, I'm so impressed. How do you get these things looking like that? Dump. I cannot stand Dump. I despise him. Harris will win. Pat Ray. Yeah, I'm in your corner. Tonya, thank you for following me. Tina 27405 is having a hard time expressing herself. She just wrote fraud. I have no idea exactly what you're referring to, but could be me that you're calling a fraud. It could be Dump. It could be anything. It could be, an issue. Pat Ray, 2020 will be repeated. Never ever 2016. We're winning in 50 states that I can see. Yeah, I mean, I doubt she'll win Texas, and there's a couple of states where she's really down by a lot. The deep red states. So I mean, I think Reagan won 50 states, right? Either 49 or 50, but yeah, I think she's going to win a significant amount. And like I said, if she turns Florida blue, it's done. If at any point you hear Florida has been decided for Harris, the race is over. Without Florida, Dump does not have an electoral path to winning. And Ophelia says she's got this in the bag. I certainly hope so. Serling, this moment in November 2016, Hillary had it in the bag, then gnashing of teeth and crying followed. Yeah, but also 10 days before, the FBI announced fraudulently that there was another investigation on her. So that changed everything, because even Dump didn't think he was going to win. That he was saying it was rigged up until Election Day. He didn't think he was going to win. He also believed that Hillary was going to win. And just, it all got thrown off at the end. Yeah. Don Freaks, I hope I'm saying that correctly, Freeecs, is saying, remember the supposed red wave in 2022? Yeah, that's a good question. I would also add the question, or actually the statement, the observation that since 2016, Republicans have won nothing. 2017, because every other year is like either a special election or a midterm or whatever. So 2017, nothing. 2018, in the midterm, lost. 2020, special elections lost. 2022, midterm, red wave was a mustard burp. Nothing happened, right? 2023, special elections. I mean, even in 2023, several Republican states voted for Democratic governors. That's how sick and tired they are of the Republican Party. Pat Ray, he just wants to stay out of prison. Yeah, I think that's his entire motivation. I mean, he wants power and money too, but I think he's desperate to stay out of prison. He knows that if he loses, he has no shot. He's going to jail, actually prison. Oh, Tina, here's another brilliant expression. Tina 27405, when you busy in illegal so you can get a vote, ... there's a problem, hell, so much fraud. Yeah, that's incoherent. I don't know what you're trying to say. I know the right has a fever dream about illegal aliens, which is not anything close to reality, but that's okay. Pat Ray, that's why I follow you. You give me hope. I need to pick up every once in a while. Oh, thank you, Pat. I'm glad I can provide that for you. That's fantastic. Yeah, and you know, this is the same with me. Like I follow people. I do my best to lead a fact-based life. I don't claim to know anything. I don't claim to have all of the answers or be right about anything, but I do a lot of reading, and even my favorite podcasts, when they present me with evidence, I fact check them just to double check and, you know, do my best to present what I believe is the truth. And of course, people, you know, let's see, Serling, to answer your question in 2020, we didn't know what we didn't know. However, after 4 years, oh, Serling, so after 4 years of record growth, historically record growth, what do you know now? Let's see. Let's see if you know what reality is. UFO Spaceboy writes 49. Excellent. Nobody knows what that means. You didn't ask for her. They installed her. Wake up. Who's they? And what do you mean by installed? I bet. Hey, Serling, you sound like you have some very strong opinions. I'm going to hope that you're not cowardly like most MAGAs and will come up and have a discussion with me. I already know you disagree with me. I have no problem with that. Hopefully you can be respectful, and I will do my best to be respectful also. Come up and share your thoughts. Come up as a guest. I want to hear from you because you have a lot to say in the comments, but it doesn't sound like you're really connected to reality that strongly. Let's see. Not you Democrats. They flooded the country with illegals. Yeah. They love scaring you with that. You fall for it every time. Nobody flooded the country with illegals. It's just a silly thing to say. Hiking with bears. Ooh, that's a strong username. Dump spent 4 years to secure a fair and legit 2020 election. His only success in 4 years. Yeah. Yeah. As a matter of fact, the guy that was head of securing elections that Dump hired said it was the most secure election in American history. So yes, that is a good point. Tina says, I see war coming out. I'm sure you do, because that's your fever dream. That's what they're selling you. They're selling you all sorts of fear and violence, and you're swallowing it whole. Serling says you may as well move to Russia. I think you mean you might as well move to Russia or China if you are okay with what you got as a world leader. Well, that's interesting. So you're mentioning communist countries with dictators, and the only one of the two candidates that has expressed that he wants to be a dictator over and over and over and over again is Donnie Dump. So I'm trying to vote him out. Why would I want to move to a country that has someone like him? You don't make any sense. Jeff DeBerry, just smiling, crying faces. I don't know why, but thank you. Serling says you are truly voting for Obama. You seem intelligent enough to know she is only a prop. No, you seem silly enough to think that she's a prop. You have no evidence to support that whatsoever. But Serling, again, you're just spamming the chat, but come up and talk. It sounds like you might be too afraid to do that. Let's see. Harry Melberg, dump P and make the America Whitey again. I don't know what P means, but okay. Just the letter P. Dump and then the letter P. That's funny. Donald Oler, do you believe in following the law? Yes. You asked it twice, Don. You might have a problem. David Kelskett says, I'm a combat veteran of Vietnam, and I would never vote for a bone-spurred draft dodger. David, I am with you 100%, and that's the least of his infractions. It's a horrible thing that he did by skipping out. But, add to that being a convicted felon and being an adjudicated rapist, and we have some serious issues here. So let's see. Drywall Dude says, I listen to you because you're one of the few educated people on TikTok. Oh, what an excellent compliment. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And folks, anyone that is liking the live, please tap on the screen as fast as you can for as long as you can. Wear your finger out on that screen, man. Let's see. Rich Lamar 529 says, okay, Dan, I don't know what that means. Donald Oler, do you believe in following the law? You've asked that 3 times, Don. You sound like maybe you have an issue. Chance the Raven. Dump said he would train. Well, he didn't exactly say that. He was wondering how she would feel with 9 people pointing pew-pews at her, which was an allusion to a firing squad, I believe. So yeah, that's weird. No, it's a really weird thing. He's very violent and very twisted. James Richard 883, another MAGA having a hard time expressing himself, can't write complete sentences, but wrote dump 2024, then a space, then an exclamation mark, because apparently he doesn't know how English is written. But I'll finish your sentence for you, James. Dump 2024 for prison, where he belongs. And James, dump will win, space. Why do you put a space before the exclamation points, and why do you use more than one exclamation point? That's weird. Laglenda Alexander. Vote blue all the way. Kamala Harris for president. Thank you. You're welcome. I agree with you. Richard Arena, someone who is who's proudly exposing how much he doesn't know about the American government, says democracy was violated by having Kamala Harris installed versus having we the people vote for her. So, Richard, let me explain 2 things. Number 1, nothing that happened was illegal or against the Constitution. All you have to do is read it to find out, which you probably never have and never will. Number 2, we voted for her in 2020. When you vote for president and vice president, what you are saying is we have confidence that if something happens to the president, this person is qualified to take over. That's why the VP pick is so important. That's why Dump's favorability went down dramatically when he picked J.D. Vance, because he's such an awful pick. Let's see. That's why you've been indoctrinated to believe. Yes, of course, because anything that disagrees with you must mean that it's indoctrination. But you're not indoctrinated at all, right? You're not following a cult leader at all. You're not ignoring a convicted felon at all, right? Let's see. What do we got? Wow, we got a lot of comments coming fast and furious. Honorable Traits laughs and says, the lies you tell. Why would that be funny? If you thought I was lying, why would you laugh before you said that? That's weird. But, that sounds like a silly thing to say. Big Boss, I'm not going to read it because you wrote it all in caps, which is only for... Oh, okay, and you're spamming, so I'm going to mute you. Okay. So that's why there were so many comments, because this one weirdo was posting the same comment over and over again. David Sparks 519, you push hate speech. It's so sad. Name one thing that I said. Go ahead, quote one thing I said that was hateful. I bet you can't. Let's see. That was a sham trial orchestrated by corrupt DOJ. Richard, are you sensing a pattern here, Richard? Anything that doesn't go your way, you think there's a controversy behind it. Oh, you're so adorable. Richard Arena, and still won't come up and speak. Come up and be a guest. You seem to have so much to say. I'd love to hear your theories about the legal system, because the Department of Justice had nothing to do with the trials, but let's see. One guest, guest has requested to come up.
What's up?
We have Honorable, I didn't see the rest of the name. Honorable what?
Traits.
Traits?
Yeah.
Excellent. For the purposes of TikTok, how old are you?
34. I'm from the 1900s.
Excellent. And what's on your mind?
Oh man, like I said, I laugh because you obviously take those words out of context, but you're supposed
Which
to.
words?
Yeah. The whole thing about calling her a war hawk in the way that he did. My dad even says
Who are
that
you
about
referring to? I think I might have. I don't
you
know
know
what you're
Liz
referring to.
Cheney,
So
Liz
catch me
Cheney,
up.
Liz Cheney, Liz Cheney.
Say that again.
Liz Cheney. You
Okay.
got the whole twisting of his words to try and make it sound like a firing squad, when you know in context he's talking about how would you feel if you were on that front line and had people aiming back at you.
But
My
that's
dad
not
says
what he
that all
said.
the time.
I saw the clip. That's not what he said.
Okay, play it again. Let's see it.
I'm not going to play it.
Okay, well then, like I said, if you don't want to play it, that probably means it's not what he said. So
No, if
I'll
I
leave
don't
that.
want to play it because I don't play videos on my live. I've never
Okay,
played a video on my live.
well, I guess we won't be able to discuss that then.
Well, we can discuss it. You have one opinion about what he said. I have another. That's all.
Okay. Now, how do you believe that's what he said? A firing squad.
I didn't say he said that. I said he alluded to that.
He alluded to a firing
Yeah,
squad.
when he said 9, when he specifically said 9 pew pews pointing at you, pointing back at you, that sounded like a firing squad.
So because of the number, that means
Yes,
firing
that's what
squad?
it sounded like. Dude, you have a different impression. So what? Let's move on. What else do you got?
All right, that's cool. Yeah, that's the main thing. I mean, they're
That's
definitely
it?
running from
That
the
was your whole
garbage.
thing?
Let me finish what I was saying. They're definitely running from the garbage comment about half the country, too, as well. That's hilarious.
Who is they?
The deep state, the only ones that
The
would
deep
actually
state.
change a legitimate
Oh, I'm so
transcript
glad you
from the
came
White
up. You're
House
adorable.
people.
The deep state. I love that.
Yeah,
Who is the deep
I'm
state
adorable.
exactly?
That's what oh, definitely the people you listen to, because
Like
like
who?
I was going
Who do I
on
listen
about,
to?
which is the transcript
Who do
about
I listen to?
so you're just gonna escape what I'm saying?
No, I'm. But when you say something about me, I'm going to have a question about it. You said people
Yeah.
you listen to. Who do I listen to?
The same people that got you believing that he alluded to a firing squad.
Which is who?
Why don't you list a few?
I don't need to. You're so certain that you know what I listen to. So tell me who I listen to.
Well, we know the people that say those things, so
Okay,
I'm
so
not gonna
you
play.
got no idea. Go ahead.
So, like we said, what about the what Biden said and called everyone, or not everyone, but half the country garbage? What's your thoughts on that?
That's just based on who you listen to.
Okay, I listened to Biden. He said it.
Oh, and I listened to Dump, and he said what I heard.
No, we're not transferring off the subject.
It's different when you say it. Oh, yeah. That is why I love you guys. Just so divorced from reality. It's hilarious.
Really?
Yeah.
Why
All right,
am
you
I
have
divorced
nothing
from
interesting to
reality
say.
based
Bye-bye.
on? Oh, you're gonna go bye.
All right. So let's see. It looked like Vicky. Vicky, for the purposes of TikTok, how old are you?
53.
53. Welcome aboard. What's on your mind?
I just don't understand how black people are voting for Trump.
Yeah,
Help me
that's a
understand.
big question for me. Well, here's the thing. I think I'll give my idea, and then I want to hear your idea. I think it's the same type of black people that turned runaway slaves in.
Makes sense. I think as a Christian, I am so tired of people saying that Kamala is a demon and Trump is from God. I'm a total Christian.
Yeah.
I'm a minister of the gospel, and
Hmm.
I can't find anything Christian about this man.
Yeah.
And the stuff that people are saying, it makes me think everybody's dumb and stupid. This man is horrible. He has divided our country. It's unbelievable. And when I meet black people that say, "Well, he don't want the immigrants here," and what? And let's talk about abortion.
I mean,
Abortion.
and by the way, let's take your points one by one. the immigrant thing. What did he do for immigration? Nothing.
He,
Nothing.
but let's deal with the fact that when they had something to try to fix it, he stopped it.
Right.
Why?
Which is the same as doing nothing. His entire
And how is
4
he
years
anointed?
squatting in the White House, he
Let's
did
deal with
absolutely
Richard
nothing to
Arena, who said
improve that
abortion is an
situation.
abomination to God.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last part. Start over.
Somebody said abortion is an abomination to God. Truth. That's truth. But
No,
abortion is
actually, if you go into the Bible, they describe how to do it, and God actually talked about ripping fetuses out of women's bodies. So,
but the bottom line is that's a choice. I don't choose to be black. I am black. But abortion is a choice, and God gives us choices. So who are you to take away my choice? If I choose to kill my child, I got to deal with the consequences of that.
you can't say that K word on TikTok. You got to use TikTok friendly language. So unalive.
Oh, I can't say coincidence.
No, the K word, which was stands for unalive.
Oh, okay, I can't say okay. But if I unalive my child, that's my choice, and I deal with consequences. As a minister of the gospel, I've dealt with women that have done that, and they're dealing with consequences of that. That's their choice. And as a minister of the gospel, I love them no matter what. But this man is promoting hate. This man is promoting division. He is a liar. He cannot tell the truth. There are no godly traits about this man, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of them saying that he is because of abortion. Abortion is one thing. What about all the other stuff he's done? What about the fact that what happened to Nancy Pelosi's husband, he has never apologized for?
No, he jokes about it.
Apologizing for the stuff that he does. Oh, but we're supposed to apologize because Biden said the truth. The majority of the people who were at that place are full of garbage. That was truth. Biden always tells the truth. He might have said it. We might not have been, what's the word? Politically correct, but the truth is the truth. But he's saying that we eat cats and dogs.
By the way, I didn't hear the quote that Biden said. What was the garbage quote that he said exactly?
Okay, what Biden said, and they've taken it totally out of context. He said the people that said that Puerto Rico was garbage was garbage. That's what he said.
Yeah. Well,
And now
that's a fair statement.
All the Trump people are truth. That's truth. That's true.
Well, here's the thing. I'm sure you've seen the same thing that I've seen, which is they'll say, let's go Brandon, which is a way of saying F you Biden. They'll say that the left is full of communist Marxists and radical leftists and all these things, even though those things have nothing to do with one another. And then if we turn around and go, you're ridiculous, they go, oh my God, you're name calling.
What's so hilarious is that if you have a brain, there's no way you can vote for Trump. Trump is the dumbest president ever. One, he's a liar. Every time they ask him a question about economics, he says tariffs. What is that? Do you even know what the word tariff means? I'm so tired of unintelligent people saying stupid stuff. And they all want to get on TikTok and say, yeah, Kelman's not really black.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And also, Dump wants to rely on the fact that he knows that his supporters statistically tend to have lower educations. Now, that doesn't mean they're dumb. It doesn't mean they're not smart people. It just means as far as education, schooling, they tend not to be high school and college educated, right? He relies on the idea that he can say anything and he won't be fact checked. And he's been right. He can say anything and he won't be fact checked. This is just one of those realities that so when he says anything, he says Kamala never identified as black, which is absolutely ridiculous. You can see things for as long as Kamala has been in the public eye that she has been referring to herself as black. All right. She of course acknowledges her Indian ancestry as well, but she always leads with black because, a lot of what we refer to in terms of people's ethnicity is based on phenotype, which is just a fancy way of saying what you look like. So Kamala identifies as black because she looks black. My son is 50% Dominican, but he refers to himself as black because his mother's half black and half a bunch of other stuff, and he looks black, and so that's how he's always identified. So it's not a big deal, but the fact that so many people are talking about it is just a reflection of their own Rashism.
I agree. And my thing is, so many people are uneducated about what's going on. I was on watch one TikTok, and this black lady said, "Yeah, because Trump is not a liar, but Kamala is a liar." Where's the lie?
Yeah, I don't see it either.
Where's
And
the lie?
Bruce
He lied about
has made a
everything.
comment about what we were just talking about. He said they only say that because they don't have anything real. Yeah, if you can't criticize Kamala's career, and you can't criticize her proposed policies, that's why they say she's not intelligent. That's why they say she's not black. That's why they say she's not a good speaker, which is a ridiculous thing to say. But they just keep coming up with these things that are everything except what we're talking about, which is, are you qualified to be president?
And we all know she's qualified. We all know she was the vice
She's one of the most
president.
qualified people ever to run for the office.
And what did he do? I'm still trying to see what was his job. Oh yeah, his dad gave him $100 million. He squandered it.
By the way, it was way more than that. It was way more than that. Just so I'm a New Yorker, and I know Dump's history.
What bothers me is people that are working class they're electing somebody that's only going to give money to the rich.
Yeah.
He proved it.
Yeah, and let me just take a moment to run down Dump's history. He was just born into the right family because his father left the family $400 million cash, and more importantly, 22,000 rental units, which worth billions, and connections to politicians, and connections to judges, and connections to banks and insurance companies. In other words, he was born into an empire, and he made so many terrible business moves he almost lost it, and he's getting close to losing it again. I mean, at this point, his golf resorts make a lot of money, but almost everything else is losers. Someone else wants to come up. You can hang out and see if we can talk. Let's see. Vibrating something. Hello. For the purposes of TikTok, how old are you?
53. I mean, 25.
25. And it's what's the name?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah.
I'm 53. It's Vibrating Sky.
Vibrating Sky?
Yeah.
Cool name. What's on your mind?
I don't know. I just came across your page. I've been scrolling. I'm at work. I just went on my hour lunch, and I'm over here just shook because I was scrolling TikTok and I seen where they had this float with Kamala being behind it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh my God, Chocolate. I'm so mad, and I don't have anybody to talk to right now. Nobody's here.
So what is the meme?
In Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania, there was the fire department approved a float, and it depicted Donald Trump in the float with a mask on, a guy with a mask, surrounded by, the security team that presidents usually have, and a person sitting on top of it with a really big pew, and had her walking behind the float in chains. I am so shocked.
Yeah, no, that's disgusting.
That's disgusting.
But, listen, this is...
I'm trying to get on.
Look, today's Saturday, right? So for us, this is a regular Saturday. There's nothing surprising. For people with melanin in their skin, this is just the daily reality of what we live with in America. This is how America started off, right? And this is how it's continued. And there's been minor changes here and there. But one of the reasons, this is a theory of mine, but one of the reasons why Dump became so popular is because he tapped into the crowd of people who were still upset about the civil rights movement. Because those are his strongest. When you look at the age bracket that supports him the most, these white teen men in their 50s and 60s and older, they're still upset that black and brown people got civil rights.
Somebody in your comments said that's not all MAGA.
Okay.
That's the argument that I hear all the time from the people that I actually know. Like, when I try to give them reasons why I'm so upset about certain things that happen in my life, they say, "Oh, that's not all Trump supporters. That's not all Republicans. That's not." And then the very next knee-jerk reaction or words that I say is, "How come he doesn't get on his platform at these rallies where he knows it's going to be televised on all the national news channels and actually denounce that and say that is disgusting? We are America. We have, you know what I mean? Like, he allows that to go on, and that's why these people feel like they can just go out here and do these types of things. And why this particular one right here got me, on top of all of the plethora of other things, seeing this woman being pulled behind in the thing, like, I am shook.
Yeah. No, it's a horrible thing. And let's contrast that to give example of what you're talking about. Like, look at what McCain did when he was running against Obama, and a woman said disparaging things about Obama, and he said, no. He's a good man. He's not this, that, and the other thing. I mean, it was a halfway slap in the face to Middle Eastern people, but he was trying to do his best to say, hey, let's not focus on nonsense. Let's just say, hey, we're all Americans, because this is what politics used to be. And I'm just going to say this as quickly as I can. Politics used to be, we all want the same thing. As Americans, we just have different ideas about how to get those things. That's what politics used to be. Now it's become a different thing. And the version of politics that we have now with one party that's completely out to lunch is problematic to me. We need two strong parties. Everything great that happened in America happened because the parties cooperated with each other. That's how Clinton was able to do what he did. That's how Roosevelt was able to do what he did. Because the parties all cooperated. They said, all right, let's all row in the same direction for the good of the country rather than focusing on the good of the party.
I'll tell you one thing, and then I'm just going to get off of here and cry before I go back to work and have on that pleasant voice. I just want to say this. My proximity to whiteness, having a white mother, being raised around all of that side of my family, I got to witness them saying the quiet parts out loud because of who I was, being biracial, having to listen to those things and seeing people in your comments and on other TikToks, like, I just need to put my phone away, but then I don't want to miss nothing because I got to keep a head on a swivel. I got to know what's going on. I see these people and I know what these people do. They're quiet when they think they have to be quiet, but when they feel free to speak, they will say every single thing that they would never say if people of color were around them. And it's sad that they thought that it was okay to speak these things to me because they did nothing but hurt me. And it's difficult to be around people because I love everyone, but you almost have to, when you meet somebody, say, are you left or right? Or do you support Donald Trump? Like, before you even begin a conversation, you got to know where they're coming from, because they're going to be all nice and smile in your face and act like they're your friend and they love you and Jesus and God is Lord is King and all this stuff, all these Christians that love on you so much, but they won't say nothing against what it is that is being said out here. It's disgusting. I'm just, my words ain't going to come out right. I'm so angry.
I get what you're saying completely, and I understand your frustration. I have just made a conscious decision not to be connected to any outcomes. I just do what I do because that's my effort, and I'm only responsible for my effort. I'm only responsible for my side of the fence. What everybody else is doing is none of my business unless it directly affects me. which is why I've been coming on TikTok and speaking my thoughts about Dump, is because he has the potential to affect my life in a very serious way. All of us, because he wants to turn America into 1932 Germany. And that's a problem for me. And anyone that doesn't see that just doesn't understand history. If you read all of the steps that happened from the late 1800s up until the 1930s, if you read the progression of Schmittler's rhetoric, you'll see that it's exactly the same thing that Dump is doing. The way Schmittler started, because, people keep saying, oh, Dump's not Schmittler because he hasn't unalived anybody. That's not where Schmittler started, okay? Schmittler started with talking, with rhetoric, with demeaning others and putting down and vilifying an entire culture of people. And then slowly but surely, over a 20-year period, it ended where it ended. And so when I see someone else starting the same way as every other dictator and authoritarian in world history, I get concerned about that. So I come out and I say what I have to say. Whatever happens after that is none of my business. But I do appreciate that you participated. And, take a deep breath and meditate. You'll be okay. I think we all will.
I'm just shaking over here. Thanks for having me up, but let me get that off my chest. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, my pleasure. All right, folks, we are getting down to the wire. Let's see. Ba-ba-ba. Boy, there's been a lot of comments while I was talking to other people. Yeah, DSC says, Richard Arena, you are the one who has become indoctrinated. Yeah, I got that impression too. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Boy, I love it. In the comments, everyone's arguing with each other now. That's interesting. So, Wonderful Woman says, voting blue to save democracy and restore decency. Yes, I'm with you. Bruce Wagner, can't wait to see Madam President in office. Yes, yes, yes. I am with everybody who is saying that stuff. No politician in world history has ever been perfect. I'm not looking for perfect people to run things. I'm looking for people that have a decent track record. Hey, Rebel Moon, how are you? I'm looking for people that have a decent track record. I'm looking for people that have the likelihood, based on their history, to do the right thing and move things forward in a positive way. And Twisted Grace, Don the Con is done. I like that. I like those alliterations. Don the Con is done. Yeah, I tend to think that when you look at a woman who was a trial lawyer, a prosecutor, then became district attorney, then became attorney general, then became a senator, then became vice president, who I'm going to address this in a moment, Rich Weiss. So when you look at that, when you see her history, you go, well, at least she's competent. And there is a good chance, a better chance than not, that she would do well as president. So Rich Weiss, 026, here's someone that is divorced from reality. He said, do not continue the failed policies of the past 4 years. So this means to me that you are clueless, okay? Completely clueless, because by any measure, and let's acknowledge a baseline for measuring countries, right? America judges every administration the same way, right? There's markers, there's matrices that are used to judge whether an administration is doing well or not, right? You have GDP growth, you have job growth, you have unemployment, you have inflation, you have manufacturing, you have all sorts of different things, right? Wage growth. So those are the hard facts that are measured in America. And by those hard fact measurements, the Biden administration has had historic accomplishments. So for you to refer to them as failed policies means you have no clue about reality. Bruce compared to dump anybody's a saint. Yeah, that's true. Dia, I'm curious to see what will be MAGA's reaction to Harris-Walz win. Well, we already know because we saw it in 2020, so we can expect more of that. Richard Rena, oh, so you don't worship Kamala Harris? No, I don't. Of course I don't. I don't worship any human being. That's silly. That's what MAGA's problem is, that they worship a criminal who has been a disaster, who did a terrible job in office by the same metrics that I'm judging any other administration. If you judge the Dump administration, you'll see that it was an abject failure. Anyone running for office should have a psych evaluation. Yeah, I think that's true. I hope they do that eventually. If they had done it, Dump would have been eliminated early on in 2015. Obviously it's going to take a long time to figure out what the question should be and who should ask them. But, I've been into psychology since junior high school, and I'm 60 now, so that's a very long time. I'm no expert. I don't claim to be. I'm not licensed. I don't claim to be. But I employed psychology in my daily life because I've been in sales since 1984, and it helps me communicate with people. And so I'm an observer of human behavior. And when you're in sales, you have to guide human behavior. You have to communicate accurately. You have to listen very well. And, you can tell sometimes when you're talking to someone who's off. You might not know exactly how they're off or why they're off, but you can just tell that they're off. And all I can say is Donnie Dump is way, way, way off from a psychological point of view. And if you listen to expert psychologists who have been, recognized experts in their field, they're saying the same thing. Let's see. Let's see. Vibrating Sky. I prefer Jasmine Crockett. I would have knocked doors for her. Yeah, Jasmine's pretty cool. I like her style. I think there's a chance that we are going to be seeing a lot more from her in years to come. Oh, TB12, you're 60, thought you were in your 40s. Yeah, on the metric system, maybe. But yeah, I just turned 60 in May. And, can't complain. Alive another day, man. Things are good. Richard Arena. Republicans are snakes and Democrats are rats, and snakes always eat rats. Really? Then what happened in 2020? See, you have a very simplistic and absurd view on life. This idea that snakes always eat rats. I mean, it's so funny because even in the real world, that's not true. But the idea, the metaphor you're using is that Republicans always defeat Democrats. Well, guess what? Since World War II, there have been 14 presidents. 7 of them were Republican, 7 of them were Democrats. So that kind of blows your whole theory right there, doesn't it, Richard? And again, since you're not confident enough to come up, because you know, here's what you know, Rich. I'm going to project onto you. I don't know you, but this is my theory. You know that I would blow all your silly arguments out of the water, so you're not coming up to talk for that reason. Ms. Denise says he literally golfed, skipped briefings, listened to no one, and then took 378 vacation days. Yeah. He took over a year's worth of vacation in one term. Amazing. And people were and anytime Obama took off, which was so rare, he got heat for it. Yeah. Twisted Grace and becoming further and further off every day. Yeah, that's true. John Taylor says, I'd rather have Candace Owens in office before Kamala. Of course you would, because Candace Owens is a self-hating black woman who she's the kind of black person that would have turned in escaped slaves. Oh, someone wants to come up. Let's see. Daisy May. This will be probably my last guest. Daisy May, for the purposes of TikTok, how old are you?
I'm 47.
And what is on your mind?
Okay, I'm in a deep red county in deep red, North Carolina. Well, it's not as red as it used to be. And I think what's happening in my household is probably happening in a lot of others, where my husband, he's all MAGA. I'm obviously not. And it's impossible to have a conversation now with him. So I just wonder how we move forward from this, because it's divided so many households and so many families, and it's very frustrating trying to speak to him.
Yeah.
And fortunately, he's not violent, and
Well, that's
I
good.
just wonder what other women are going through with husbands that are, violent.
Well, I have nothing to say about the latter, but I will say this. I have theorized that a lot of MAGA wives are going to get into the booth and vote blue, and so I appreciate that you confirm that for me. And I can only imagine how tenuous the situation is for anybody in a household like yours. I don't have any answers for you, but it sounds like you've managed the situation well. And I'm guessing that you will continue to manage it well. But you know, you don't owe anybody anything. So if someone asks you who you voted for and you feel it would be problematic to tell them the truth, lie, because it's about self-preservation sometimes, and you're allowed to do that. You don't have to tell anybody who you voted for. That's not a requirement in any situation. And someone else wants to come up, so you can hang out. I'm going to bring them up as well. Rebel Moon is going to come up. But yeah, Daisy, I hope everything turns out okay. And the pathway forward, I think, is things are going to sort of reach an equilibrium, because the heat is going to be turned down. Sure, it's not going to be immediately after the election. It's going to take a little while, but once the dust settles, people will likely recalibrate and go back to being normal human beings for the most part. So I hope that's the case. Rebel Moon, how are you?
Hey, how are you? I'm good. I'm good.
Excellent.
I always love when you're live because
Thank
you're
you.
always calm and you always come with the facts. But I'm laughing at this guy in the comments, this Richard Arena guy.
Yeah,
He's
he's a
down
trip.
here. He's trying to bully people in the comments, but he's a coward. He won't come up and
Of
get in the
course.
box. We have a conversation. Just a little scared little boy, just like Trump.
Yeah, no doubt. There's a lot of people that come on and they're all brash and blustery. And then, once in a blue moon, they'll come up and suddenly they've got nothing to say, or they just keep spewing the same nonsense that they do. But this is all MAGA has, right? MAGA just has propaganda. And I get it. As I mentioned, I've been studying psychology for 47 years at this point. And propaganda is a powerful tool, the most powerful communication tool known to humans. And it works, unfortunately. Doesn't work on everybody all the time, but it works on a segment of the population that, psychologists refer to as authoritarian-minded people. And, no matter what you like, think about the things that MAGAs are ignoring in order to support Donnie Dump, right? They're ignoring his entire history as a human being. They're ignoring his history as a business person. They're ignoring his history as a father and as a husband. They're ignoring his history as a convicted criminal. and as an adjudicated rapist, right? They have to ignore all of those things. Plus, on top of that, they have to ignore all the wild, insane, un-American things that he's been saying for the whole time he's been in, trying to seek public office. So for the last 9 years, he's just been saying insane things, which is what turned me off to him initially. I was one of the first people in 2015 that said, hey, this guy sounds like Schmittler to me. And I caught a lot of heat for that. Like personally, I caught a lot of heat for saying that, but I know history. I've read a lot about history, and I was like, well, he's saying all the things that Schmittler said, so why shouldn't I compare him to Schmittler? Right?
But
That don't make any sense.
Do you remember when he first started like toying with the idea of becoming president?
Well, you're talking about way back in the 80s?
Well, not then, but you know why he did that. That was from
by the way, in the 80s is when he first wanted to be. He started, there were interviews from 88 moving forward.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. That's because the KGP told him that he needs to run. They chose him.
Yeah.
But there's information. If people want to read about that, they can do that on their own time at trumpfile.org. But I'm talking about his first run as an actual run and win as president. When he first started campaigning, I started looking at I'm like, this. I didn't like his show, first of all. I didn't like that because I didn't like his personality on the show, so I didn't continue to watch it. But what's crazy is that started me looking into him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Looking into what's going on with him, what kind of person he is. And when you start reading those stories, that's when I said, there's no way in heck I will ever vote for this man. But Trumpers didn't do that. The Tea Party didn't do that. The new MAGA, they didn't do that.
Because they're all in the same shared hatred. That's why they're part of the same cult. But hang on one second. Let me get Daisy's reaction to some of the things you were saying. Okay. Daisy, any reaction to what Rebel said?
I just I'm so disheartened by just the whole discourse, and I don't know how we're gonna, like, with my husband, I showed him a picture of Kamala's father, and I said, if you saw this man on the street, what race is he? He refused to answer.
Right.
And I said, well, he's from Jamaica. He said, well, you can be from Jamaica and not be black. Like, I don't.
So what that says is that he doesn't understand history, but okay.
Right. I just, you can't even reason with him. And my husband was raised Democrat. I was raised Republican. And now we've totally flipped. And for the last 20 years, I've voted Democrat. And he has gone down a rabbit hole, and it's literal brainwashing. I can't describe how he's changed. And that's I'm just wanted to come on here because I'm like, who do I talk to about this? Because
I'm glad you shared your thoughts here because, sometimes it's good. Sometimes you can have catharsis even among strangers.
Well, I really appreciate you offering this forum because it's, any little bit helps.
Well, I'm here every Saturday at 12. Wow, there's someone's moving in. I think there's a lot of noise. But I'm here every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern, and throughout the week I jump on spontaneously, and maybe I'll make it a regular thing daily soon. Who knows? But yeah, so Rebel Moon, what else is on your mind?
Well, I was thinking about the recent stuff about the policies around transgender surgeries in prison, and then they won't even take the time to figure out that was instituted under Trump's watch. That's a Trump thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and all they got to do is go and look it up. Same thing with that app, the app that they're talking about, that they were talking about. I forgot the name of it. You know the app I'm talking about that immigrants can use to get assistance and to help them through the process.
I've heard something vaguely about that.
Yeah, well, Trump was saying the Kamala app the Kamala app or whatever. It's the app was made up under his administration.
Right. Right.
So I'm like, guys, this stuff is verifiable. Just go look for yourselves.
Yeah, facts are, the thing is that if you're heavily into confirmation bias, you are never going to look beneath the surface of anything. So if you have a thought and then someone says something that confirms that thought, you're going to be satisfied with that. Because then your world makes sense. You're not going to say, well, maybe that thought's not true. Let me look into it. Let me verify that, because that's what I do. Like, I have my go-to podcast that I get most of my information from. And these are podcasts filled with people who are experts in their field, acknowledged experts in their field. And even when they say something, I verify. I fact check everything that they tell me. I've gone onto the New York City court website while the trial was going on to see the transcripts of the day, because they were talking about what went on in the court, and I wanted to see if they were putting any spin on that, and they weren't. But I confirmed it. That way I could speak confidently about anything that I said regarding the trial, because I was reading about it, and I do the same thing with every bit of information that comes my way that I find interesting, that I want to talk about. I will make sure that, to the best of my ability, I'm going to make sure it's true. But people with confirmation bias don't do that. They just go to imright.com or listen to Fox or whoever is saying what they're saying, and they go, oh, yeah, that agrees with my worldview, so it must be true, so I'm going to repeat it.
Exactly. Somebody's asking in the comments to say something that you like about Harris. They always ask that question, and we're always talking about things that we like about her, but we don't worship her. We're constituents. We're not fans. This has nothing to do with her being popular. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I don't know her personally. I don't know who she is as a human being. I mean, she's been surrounded by people for decades in public life, and the people that know her best seem to have favorable things to say about her, but I don't care about that. Like, it's good that you're just a regular person, like a decent person, but what I care about is she's expressing an agenda that makes sense to me. Yeah, here we go. Richard Arena. Demtards regurgitate what CNN or MSNBC says. Oh, I don't watch either of those, so I don't see how that's possible. But Richard, you're really a pretty vile person. I can tell by everything you've said here today. But I'm sure someone tolerates you somewhere in life. But what I think about Kamala is simple. She's extremely qualified. I would have to double check this, but to my knowledge, she is the most qualified person to ever run for president in America. And even if that's not true, she is qualified for sure. I mean, Donnie Dump's qualification was being a failed business person and a game show host. All right. But she has tremendous qualifications, and the plan that she has, even though MAGA hats keep pretending that they don't hear a plan from her, even though it's splattered everywhere and she talks about it constantly, they still don't know what it is because, again, their echo chamber does not allow for that. But she has a plan that makes sense to me, because tariffs don't work. Cutting taxes on the wealthy does not work. Dump did both of those things, which is why you're complaining about high grocery prices now. Because Dump doesn't know anything. He never did. He never will. And it's a shame that he got in office. It's unfortunate, but he got in office, and he squatted in the White House for 4 years and enriched himself and drained the economy for the average person. That's what he accomplished, right? And so what Harris is talking about are common sense solutions to move and build and keep America heading in the right direction. I'm no patriot, but I live here and I want things to be good for me, my son, my grandchildren, the people I love. I want everything to be cool. All right. And that's why I'm voting for Harris. No other reason. There's no emotion in terms of I worship her or I think she's walks on water or anything like that. None of that stuff comes into it for me. Just I think she's going to do a good job. Period. End of story.
Yeah. If you look at, if you actually look and not just listen to what people are saying, at how she got to be vice president, the different jobs that she's had, she's worked really hard, and had to be elected to all of those positions. That's a lot of people voting for one person, throughout a career, and she's been pretty consistent. Now, has she made some mistakes along the way? Humans make mistakes. But here's the thing I like about her. If I have to think of one redeeming quality, she listens, she learns, and then she goes and adjusts, makes adjustments. And that's what we need in a president. Listen to the people, go back and get to work. And by the way, you all, if you got any doubts if she can handle anything, go watch some of her work in Congress. She is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, she faced down drug cartels. I mean, come on. The idea, is she going to handle world leaders? Of course she can. And by the way, she already has. She's been interacting with those people for 4 years now. And even before that, even in Senate, she was handling world leaders. So it's all, Jason Morgan. Listen to this, and then we're going to wrap up. Jason Morgan, because he has trouble expressing himself. He's writing this over and over again. Willie Brown, as if that means anything. Yes, she dated Willie Brown. So what?
Right.
Oh, he was this age and she was this age. So what? They both were consenting. So what?
At least she cheating on her husband and buried one of her husbands in the back of a golf course.
Yeah, I forget to mention that in the list of things against Trump. But yeah, he actually buried his ex-wife on the property at Mar-a-Lago so he could get tax breaks as a cemetery.
And there's no headstone, nothing. It's
no headstone.
Overgrown.
It's overgrown. No one's taking care of it. And so, I can't wait for Ivanka's book when all this settles down. It's going to be a doozy.
Right. So you can Willie Brown all day long.
Willie Brown, like it means anything. Yeah, she dated a dude 30 years ago or whatever it was, 40 years ago. Okay, so.
And then he's been like this dude, Ed Mack, elected to everything but nominated president. You guys, please go learn how your government works.
Yeah. No, they don't do that. They don't know that. I love the fact that these people claim to be patriots, and yet they have no clue how government works. They have no clue about the laws. They have no clue about the Constitution, nothing. It's just like, oh, she was installed. No, she wasn't. Listen, anyone can acknowledge that what happened transitioning from Biden to Harris was unusual because it had never happened before. Yes, we acknowledge that. It was unusual. But that doesn't mean it's wrong. It was just unusual.
Exactly. Just like it's unusual to have a rapist, felon, grifter.
Yeah, that's unusual too. And me personally, I think it's wrong. But here's the thing. Here, if you're gonna, it's that old British saying, "In for a penny, in for a pound," right? If you're gonna have the Constitution as the laws of the land, then if it's in the Constitution, it's the law. If it's not, well, it's not covered. And there's nowhere in the Constitution that says that a rapist and a felon can't run for president. So he's allowed to do it. And we just have to accept that. It seems ridiculous that people would want that. It seems ridiculous that people would support that. But that's where we are. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up. Rebel Moon, thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure hearing from you. It's always a pleasure catching your lives as well. And, I'm here, as I said, every Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern. And hopefully soon I will be coming on more and more during the week. And, don't forget to like, don't forget to follow me, all that good stuff. And we'll. Oh, Carol says, glad I found you. Thank you. I'm glad you found me too, Carol. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right,
Can I
folks.
leave, can you look this up? I'm gonna leave you with this,
Go
and
ahead.
then look this up for me. The piece about this surprise, the surprise Trump said he's gonna have after just look into.
Well, we know what the surprise is. He wants Mike Johnson not to certify votes, but
No, that's not
no,
what
it's
I'm
a different
thinking.
one.
Yes,
Okay, I'll look it up.
I'm thinking that they're going to use the part in Project 25 that pertains to elections and the Dred Scott ruling. Watch, mark my words.
I know they're really fond of laws from the 1800s, huh?
No, but mark my words. Remember, I said that.
Okay, I'm definitely going to look for that. I'm interested to see what that is. All right, folks. Peace, love, and granola. Talk to you soon. Have a great day.